Welcome to episode 8 of Cheap Cans, Broken Vans and Basement Bar Bands. We're going to go through some of our releases, and we're going to talk about how they came about and why you should check them out, and basically try and remember what we've done with our lives, which if you've watched the previous episodes, you'll realise we're pretty shit at. We've got more special celebrity guests. We do record 2 episodes at once. So Dan has enjoyed it so much that he stayed on. Hi, Dan. And then we've got Nosebleed joining us, all 3 of Nosebleed. We've got Ben, Eliott and Dickie. Hi, nice to see you all.
Hi.
Hello. Good day to you.
But should we start off here? What are we all drinking?
Stella.
I forgot to get myself a drink.
Schoolboy. I'm on another Pomona Island. Factorial.
Elliott's gone with the cheap can.
Yeah, right. We're in the middle.
I'll pick the nearest liquid to me, and it's 80% alcohol liquid spray, which is stronger than anything anyone else will be able to handle. To be fair,
I've got a Charlie Don't Serve from ABC, and I've actually got an ABC glass as well. So
nice. Classic.
This is actually my first beer of the year. Dry January's gone out of the window today.
You covered up the branding there.
I mean, it's probably like March when this goes out. So,
there you go.
So if anyone's thinking they're well impressed with Dickie, he hasn't done that well.
But we're still proud of you, Dickie. We're still proud of you.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Proud of our little baby boy.
So, this episode, we're talking about TNS071 all the way through to TNS080. So we're nearly, we're getting there. And we're in 2018, I think.
It's the color of my blood, just like Charlie Angus should be, but I'm juggling the two. A silver switch that seems to lose out its relevance. No plates of goods or intelligence brains seem down along with.
Which is a reprint. Well, it's not reprint. It's the first time it came out on vinyl, but it's an old album. So we worked with Random Hand to bring out the Change of Plan, which was nice.
So I bought this first time round, which I imagine most people here did, and they were just an amazing band, weren't they? And still are. And the first album, I thought, just epitomised all the exciting stuff that was going on in like the UK ska scene, really. And I think when Joe sort of asked us to get involved in re-releasing this, I was like really keen to do it straight away. And obviously they're working through their back catalogue now and getting everything on vinyl. But it was really nice to be involved in this because Random Man played one of the very, very early TNS gigs. I think it might have been the second one. It was a tiny, tiny gig, and it was a struggle to get people to even go in those days. And I remember Random Man and Harajan played. I think Harajan had recommended them, and they were just absolutely awesome. And I think a big thing for me about Random Man, they obviously have the tunes, which every popular band has to have the tunes, but they are the epitome of what having the right work ethic does to make a band established. It's no good having those tunes if no one hears them. And they got out to every venue and they played and played and played. And now they're rightly considered one of the most established bands in the DIY scene. And it's been really nice to see that journey. So
they were doing it full time for a bit, weren't they?
Yeah. And it's hard to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's another with some amazing photos.
It was weird seeing him at like Leeds Festival and stuff on massive stages to loads and loads of people, like mainstream festivals. Like, but I can't remember what year it was, like 2000. It must have been early 2000s. Like that's the last time I went to Leeds Festival. But yeah, it was good to see like a band coming in from the scene and just actually making their way up to like mainstream events as well.
Yeah, they were on the Radio 1 Made of Ale stuff more than once, weren't they? I think maybe 3 times if I remember right. But I remember Rebellion, they played the Ballroom a few times, and obviously all of us sort of go to a lot of small gigs, and you see a band that you're used to seeing playing to 80 to 100 people, filling a huge room and like massive pit. It's amazing. It's amazing to see.
Was that
Well,
one?
I guess
1 year at Rebellion, the way they got bumped to the headline slot or the last slot, wasn't there? They were supposed to be on early on, and then they got moved right to the end. Played to a massive crowd. That must have been, I can't remember when that was. 2005.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I guess you've seen him in Leeds quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I saw them at the Brudenell, like their last gig, their last ever gig. I think it might have been. Oh, it was the last ever tour that they did, but they came back. Oh no, they were going on a hiatus, weren't they? They publicly said they were going on a hiatus, so I can't do that. Oh, you said you were retiring, but you're not.
No, they were very clear it was a hiatus.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. But yeah, they played with King Prawn, I think, and Anti-Vigilante, who were quite a similar sort of band, weren't they? Like kind of agnostic front meets ska sort of affair.
Yeah. Yeah, so great for that. Yeah, as you say, they've just released the next album, which I've forgotten what it's called. I've got it on vinyl, so you might be able to pick that up now as well.
Inhale, Exhale, it's called.
That's the one.
Yeah.
On Bomber.
He's done his research.
He's got a memory.
I've got it on CD actually.
I've got it on
also
both.
good
I need
album.
to release it on tape.
Yeah,
That's a throwback to the last episode where we talked about tapes.
I've got a tape machine. I've got like a tape deck with like a European plug, and I just keep meaning to buy a normal British plug for it. This isn't an interesting story, but anyway, I keep seeing all these tapes coming out. And I was like, oh, I need to buy this plug. So every time someone says I'm releasing a tape, I'm just like, yeah, there you go. Ben needs to buy a European adapter.
Oh, look at me, I make art house movies. Oh, I've got scissors for hands. Willy Wonka, Johnny Wanker.
Gilbert Grape, wanker. Edward, wanker. Don Juan, wanker. Dead Man, wanker. Nick and Time, wanker. Donny Brasco, wanker. The Brave, wanker. Fear and Loathing, wanker. Ninth Gate, wanker. Astronaut, wanker. Sleepy Hollow, wanker. Man Who Cried, wanker. Night Falls, wanker. Chocolat, wanker. Blow, wanker from Hell, wanker. Caribbean, wanker. Once Upon a wanker. Secret Window, wanker. Neverland, wanker. Liberty, wanker. Sweetie Todd, wanker. Wonderland, wanker. Torres, wanker. Rango, wanker. Brotherly, wanker. Lone Ranger, wanker. Black Mass, wanker. Gilbert Grape, wanker. Edward, wanker. Don Juan, wanker. Dead Man, wanker. Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka.
Shall we like try and do something snazzy? I'll hold up the record and you hold up the cover. I think it'll
All
be
right, okay.
well. You ready?
A terrifying EP to play on a record player, I find.
Well, yeah, Ben, you might as well start with that because when I spoke to you guys about coming on, that was the first thing you said, really, that you were
I actually got
terrified
all
of
the
this
records.
record.
I got all the records out to like do what you're doing with the thing by holding them up, and I put them back and didn't bring them down. Yeah, the first time I put it on my record player, I put it on a little bit too close to the edge, and it fell off and nearly ripped my record player to pieces. So I only listen to the downloads now.
So,
It's really cool though. It's a really cool vinyl. It's a nice thing to own.
Yeah, I think it epitomizes the idea that people are interested in having something unique and unusual because it just flew out, didn't it? Like we sold it so quickly.
It's just like an extra piece of artwork to own with the album as well, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Ollie's one of the all the Bobby Funk, but Ollie was the person who told me about it. They just we talked in previous episodes about this idea of having drunk ideas and going, yes, make that happen. And they'd all been talking about this, and Ollie messaged me and went, right, we've got this idea. It's ridiculous, and we don't even really properly remember how it came about. But what do you think? I was like, I'm the best person to ask that.
Hey, I always thought it was like a mispress that you just played off You're just like, oh fuck! All these vinyls have come in this fucking weird shape. We'll just have to.
I was
Get a new sticker.
It's quite skeptical of it to start with. Like, I don't know whether because you have to sell it quite expensive to do it and sell it. But they organised all the pressing, didn't they? They went to the pressing company and went, "We want to do this," and got all the. So it kind of like went, "All right, let's go with it. Let's let you run with it and see how it comes out." And it just flew out, didn't it? Because how many times can you buy a record that's that?
I can't. The first time I saw them, they were was at Gulliver's. I can't remember who was putting on the. Was it you guys that were putting the gig on?
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah, ridiculous. I was just like walking around going.
Yeah, well, this is the
so
thing.
Good live.
Like, the first time I saw them, I was just like, these are going to end up being one of my favorite bands within a few, like 30 seconds of watching them, because they're just got a real mix of sounds, but they kind of, it's just really original, but the way they deliver it as well, it's just
it's a really original type of humor though, isn't it? It's like, I can't think of, as soon as you hear the lyrics, you're like, that's definitely a Bobby Funk lyric. Like, is Johnny Depp on that one?
Yeah, that's on it.
Yeah, Johnny Wanker.
Johnny Wanker, yeah.
Helmet, which is a song about being sick in a helmet, apparently.
Well, the first time I saw them were at MPF when he had his leg in a cast. Ollie had his leg in a cast. We're still going for it.
That's the cut.
When I was there tonight, he broke his leg.
That's on the front cover, isn't it? That shot from MPF.
Yeah, it's
he was dancing to Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, you can see his cast there.
As they were in tier 2 down in Cornwall over Christmas, and they did the TNS stuff, and they were just like, there was just a massive pie at that house.
Yeah,
so jealous of their far off ways.
But yeah, we'll come. We release more for Bobby Funk, so we'll come back to them in another one, so we can spend a bit longer on this next record. But yeah, what an awesome band, and great to have them part of the TNS family.
Oh yeah. I guess the last thing to say on that is it was a joint release, wasn't it? And it was out with their own label as well. So we'll like go back to where we've spoken to in previous episodes, where we like working with bands that, you know, have experience of doing these things themselves and actually
they put
to the scene.
They put gigs on boats.
Yeah,
how ridiculous is that?
I have to say, out of all the Revenge gigs I've ever done, that Revenge on a boat was the wildest thing I've ever seen. I genuinely thought it was going to end badly, but it was good. It was fine.
Dickie, you didn't enjoy yourself on that boat.
I'm really, really seasick, so I was just sick all the time. It was horrible.
It was sick mid-set. It was just like, It was like really shit sick. It was like that.
And we did shop it. I was playing along, trying not to be sick. And then when I looked up, my cymbals were going like that. I was like, yeah.
Right. Okay. Next up, we have got
the best record on TNS.
Eliott, your face looked like you were either going to say what you said or you were going to say that you hated it.
I mean, no. So, like, it's looking back at it, it's the best record on TNS, and no one can deny that. I think if we polled everyone on TNS, they'd go, yeah, Nosebleed smashed it out of the park first time, best band ever.
Well, I don't want to stroke your ego too much, but it's a very good record.
2 days, smashed it out of the park.
Yeah.
It was very much a set everything up the way you want it to sound and go kind of album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is your first album, isn't it? But it's not. You've released a couple of EPs beforehand.
Yeah, but we don't like to talk about them because they were shite.
Save your best for TNS, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
They were
Get someone proper recording it. That's the problem.
They were the stretches before the marathon. I'm not even falling for that one.
I have to say, I have this memory of like I feel awful about. I remember saying to Ben, I don't think you should record it yourself, but I was pissed when I said it, and I didn't mean it in the way I always felt like it came across.
You were right. You were definitely right, though.
Because...
You were definitely right, though, because you don't really know what you sound like at all, really, until someone else puts their input into it, and then all of a sudden you get this like new dimension of the band. Who's like, oh, I actually said when we were recording it, I didn't really get why people liked us, but then when I've heard this back, kind of like it's kind of made me realise that we actually have got a little bit of something. Not to blow our own trumpet.
At least you told him pissed, Andy, because I remember me and Ben having a very awkward conversation in the car on the way back from a gig where I told him flat out I do not want him touching that album.
No, it wasn't. It was I'm not paying you for that album.
Yeah, I'm not giving you any money to do that.
It's like, well, I'm really busy at the moment, so I can't like put work off to record an album. Let's just get someone else to do it, and then I can work at the same time.
Just to put it into context, me and Dan and Eliott have paid Ben to record Knife Club, so it's not a comment on his producing skills, which are fantastic. It's I guess it's like you need to take a step back from things you're involved in creatively. Maybe it's
something that we tried out, and it made the world of difference because like. If I was to record my bass, I'm going to be less critical on myself than someone else because I can't really. Yeah, it's not a matter of it like I'm a one-take wonder type thing. It's a matter of like you played something, and if someone hears something that you didn't, then it's just an argument between the band. But when there's a fourth person involved, like who's more critical, they're kind of managing you and managing your kind of expectations a bit better than you would manage your own, and he's a bit more of a perfectionist than we were. Like,
well, he's like the fourth member of Nosebleed now. We did all that album with him, and that was just going in and boshing out all the songs that we've written. But then, obviously, we've been recording the second one. Well, we've recorded the second one, and he were a lot more sort of involved in the writing of that as well. So it's someone who's not in the band, but who is in the band now at this point. Sort of helping us out with stuff. But it's like Ben said, you're too much of you're too lenient on yourself. So like, we're not really even allowed to use our own equipment when we're recording. Like on fucking Scratching Circles, I think the only thing that any of us owned were my guitar on there. Everyone else had to borrow all this stuff.
Oh, because he's got like hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of vintage gear, and it's just when you look at it, you go, "Yeah, I'll use that, please."
So, Dickie, how did you find it? Because obviously you weren't in Nosebleed at the inception, were you? But like you.
Well, there were quite a lot of them songs on the album that were already written with a previous drummer. So I don't know. I'd obviously heard the songs before I started playing, and they have changed quite a bit. But yeah, it was just good to get in there and get the songs bashed out in 2 days. It worked really well.
Is it the case that the songs are different now because if you look back at the album, it doesn't sound how they would live now because you've changed them so much?
Well, yeah, the previous drummer, he had a different style. So like when I started playing with Nosebleed, I kind of simplified it. Obviously, I'm not playing all over the kit like the previous drummer did. I think it tightened it up a little bit.
Mm.
But yeah, I think the album versions compared to the demos which I had, I'm blowing my own trumpet now. Obviously, I think they sound a lot better.
It's just you're playing with for the band rather than yourself. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. It's your artwork, isn't it, Eliott?
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I fucking hate this cover. Like, I think we did a horrible job with it.
It's changed to we now.
I didn't think we did a horrible job.
Yeah. You should stick to designing labels for hot sauces.
I'll tell you what, in 10 years, when you do the sort of the cash-in Nosebleed re-releases, like all our back catalogue will redesign album cover.
Did Yop have something to do with that artwork as well?
Oh, Yap did the design of the dancing and the scratching in the middle of it.
Just blame it all on him.
Well, Random Man, going back to the previous release, they dropped the original art, don't they? I've got the CD over there, which I can't be asked to dig out, but they dropped the original art for that one.
Well, what was another? Going back to Random Man, sorry, but what was that actually called another change of plan? That
Yeah, but another change of plan was two. It had extra tracks on it, so change of plan was the first how it came out first, and then they re-released it as another change of plan. I think another change of plan was too long.
right.
Just to highlight how skilled and professional TNS is. So we arranged to do that Random Hand album, and they wanted to do the another change of plan version. So they sent all the tracks over, submitted them to the pressing plant, and the pressing plant went, "This is about 30 minutes too long." We had to just go back. We were like, "All right, we've released this many albums, but we still don't know
Reverse.
how it is."
Double gatefold, but the second record has only got like 5 grooves on it.
And one interesting thing on this album is that we did the limited press as black, so it was just 100 black and the rest were white. I think I'd had a conversation with Dickie from Make That a Take, and we were just like talking about how wondering whether people just go for the vinyl because it's a limited, or they prefer a coloured vinyl. And so the idea here was put out just a limited black record and say it was limited and see whether that sold better than nice white vinyl. And 100 black went before 100 white. So people just like the fact that it's limited. There you go.
But I just think I've looking at my record collection. Like all the records are coloured, like nearly all of them, apart from the old ones. Like you really rarely get like black vinyl anymore. Like, so it is limited, really, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah, well, and we'll never press black vinyl on this again because that was the only way to get the first 100. So yeah, that's why that happened. It was I was going to say drunk conversation, but Dickie doesn't drink, so a conversation with Dickie about
Conversation where you would know.
You were drunk, yeah.
I don't know.
You were suggestible.
Yeah, no, let's do it, and then this came up as an opportunity to do it. So it was one of those ideas that was festering for a while.
The white one does look cool, though.
It does look nice, especially with the logo in the middle.
Because it kind of runs through, doesn't it?
It works really well.
What a beautiful record that is.
I can't remember what version I've got. Have I got the black one or the white one?
I think
Really?
I went with the black one because didn't it come with something extra?
Yeah.
We did a tattoo sheet as well, didn't we?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Tattoos. Oh god, yeah.
That was another idea that we'd had
Not that they've been used.
kicking around for a while, was to do like I've still got it. Yeah, it's tattoo paper, like tattoo sheet that you can put on. That's really cool, isn't it?
I think it was at the point where Sarah Williams was saying who does the most ridiculous merch, and we were all trying to compete with each other. Not that music's a competition, but it was quite a bit of a who can come out with the most ridiculous merch. I think it was a time when you came out with the boost time clocks as well.
I was going to say we'll move on to the winners in a minute, but
we have been looking at doing something like this for a while, and Awesome Merch had just kind of started doing it. So we're like, oh, right, yeah, now is the time, and it kind of really fits with the artwork as well, doesn't it? So
I've never once had a picture off any one of them using it though. Like as far as it was concerned,
people
like
want to use it.
Yeah,
it's like opening like a model, one of those posh model cars that you get. You don't open them, otherwise you devalue it.
Yeah, but once you use it, it's gone, isn't it? Like,
well, this is it. But I bet
they're permanent, Dan. They're permanent.
Well, we've talked quite a lot on this in previous episodes about how what you do as a label and a band has become very much about either supporting the scene or things being collectible. And yeah, people don't want to use their collectible thing, do they? They like it. They like it as a thing they can look at again when they take the record out of the sleeve, and you know, it's nice.
Sleeve tattoos.
Yeah.
that's awful. Stop that.
Okay. Can we cut that, Bev, please?
this was 2 years ago, and I'd already forgotten about that tattoo thing. Thanks, Dan.
I had actually as well. I don't think I've got that. Can't believe this was 2 years ago. Ridiculous.
No, I don't think we should spend ages on this, but the last Revenge album, like obviously we talked about Revenge too many times already. But yeah, last album we decided to do a bit of a sort of retrospective. So it's got tracks off all our previous releases, but like rarities. It's got like the dance remix on it and stuff. Yeah, we decided to call it a day. We'd been going hard for years and years, and we were knackered and we didn't know where to go with it. And we ended it at the right time, I think. We're all still close mates. And our last run of gigs was the best run of gigs. And the last gig was, well, to be emotional, one of the best days of my life. I couldn't believe it, really.
It was so good.
It's all right, wasn't it?
Yeah. So thank you to anyone who supported Revenge over the years. I don't take for any second, I don't take for granted what support we had and how much fun we had and how cool it was. So yeah, and thanks to your guys' bands for playing on the last day as well. So yeah, that's my bit about that.
It was a silly gig. I think every band did it. Did every band do a cover?
Most did, not everyone.
One of the songs, the cover we did, we thought was so good, we just changed the lyrics and just put it on the album.
What was the thinking on the artwork, Andy? Was it just all your favourite things?
Well, I've always liked collage-based stuff, and a dinosaur T-shirt was the best-selling T-shirt by miles. We literally sold like 1,500 of those dinosaur T-shirts. Maybe it was ridiculous. We used to just kept at. You'd sell like 15 at a gig on a good gig, and you'd just have to keep getting more done. And so we thought we should have a dinosaur on the front. And I always liked this sort of collage aesthetic. And then we'd had like my cats on Shattered Dreams, and I just started collecting images of people's pets. Like loads of people just kept sending me stuff. And then we just had this scene where we were I Want to Be a Spaceman's on it. So we had this idea of Matt wanted to start a colony on Mars. That's one of the lyrics. So our colony on Mars was revenging everyone's animals. And there's a cow on it. And like people are like, why has it got a cow on it? But my friend from work, her parents actually have this sort of rescue farm. And like they rescue animals from farms that are shutting down and stuff. So that cow was actually my friend's pet. She has a pet cow. How cool is that? So there you go.
That's cool. Did this come with Fancy? I can't remember.
And we did the photo book, didn't we? So you took all the photos of the last book. So this came out a few months before that, but yeah, we did the photo book, which had all photos of all the bands that played the last gig. So if anyone went there, the last gig, we had 14 support bands. I know you were there. We had 14 support bands because we were a band for 14 years, and it was really hard to like pick those 14 bands because there could have been like 28 bands, but like we managed to pick the 14 bands we'd gig with loads, and we got like Mikey Wong to compare the gig, and he'd come out and say Revenge have played with this band this many times. It was cool, wasn't it? And everyone did 20-minute sets, and yeah, and then we split up, and that was that.
I was thinking about this the first time we played with Acid Drop played with Revenge at Colwyn Bay, and then who'd have thought like about 10 or whatever many years that we'd be suffering a near-death experience on a plane.
Yeah. Me and Ben went on holiday, and our plane was coming down slowly. Then he went wee
just before
for
we
no
landed.
apparent reason. We were
then it came in with the tunnel. It was like, oh, surely so the captain will tell us that there's no issue. We just weren't ready to land or something. We went, I'm afraid the captain didn't really think it was safe to land then. So, and then for 15 minutes, there was no discussion of what was going on. And Liz just kept
sitting next to me, was like rubbing his head, and Joe was sitting the other side of me, go, "What's going on?" I was going, "How the fuck am I supposed to?"
Terrifying.
But we're still we're
still here.
He nearly aborted
back
on the
up.
second time round as well, but then he went, "Oh fuck it." We live to tell the tale.
Yeah, fun times.
On that bombshell.
So this is a 7-inch with uniforms.
Yeah, they've done the cool thing, like, you know, like load of the factory records bands, like didn't used to have the band name and the album title on the cover. They used to just have an image, like Peter Saville artwork. So they've gone down that route of, you know, which is a cool thing to do, but obviously you need, you know, if you're struggling to sell records, you need to make sure people know who it is sometimes. But I really like it that they did that. It's nice.
This is a split release with Make That a Take in Dundee. It's great record.
Yeah, so just to put it into context, for people listening, like, so Dickie, who Bev was talking about, the idea of having black as the limited colour vinyl, and the Nosebleed album is the vocalist and guitarist in uniforms, and he runs an awesome label and puts on a festival in Dundee as well, which is you have to drive there in your bare feet, but it's great when you get there.
It's a long way away.
Can't resist the partridge.
I just can't.
You just ignore it, Ben. You just move on and ignore it.
But you've done it, haven't you? You've done Dundee as Nosebleed.
Yeah,
We have Dundee.
You've done it, Dan.
Eliott's guitar strap broke halfway through our set.
Oh yeah, when we did Put Your In, my strap broke halfway through the set, so I just sat on the floor and finished the set from the floor. But like, everyone who were there fucking sat on the floor with us, and it was just a genuinely lovely moment. Just all of us doing a gig sat on the floor.
It was like story time. It was like story time with Eliott Verity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a photo somewhere. I don't know if you can find it or drop it in on the edit of just like everyone sat round. It looks like he's like reading a bedtime story.
And honestly, right, I know, like people think I'm a
You sat like a teddy
twat,
bear
but
as
it's
well.
like the happiest I've ever looked is that photo.
Oh, send me the picture. I'll drop it in.
See if we can dig it out.
This was one that was mentioned, I think, while Dickie took advantage of me when I was drunk. I mean, MPF, I think. Another person. Not dropping hints to anyone.
Flyers with booze.
Yeah.
But like we go back a long way, I guess, with Dickie, because he was in Joey Terrifying, who played a lot of gigs around Manchester and Bolton and stuff, like many years ago, late, like 2008 maybe. So uniforms are wicked. I remember the last time I saw them was at your house. Well, they played in Leeds and they stayed at your house, Ben, and I stayed at your house as well. But they played in Bad Apples when it was on the gigs they were doing around that release. Actually,
I don't.
Didn't we put that on, Ben?
I did. Yeah, I think we put it on.
Yeah, he stayed at your house, Ben. I was sat with him drinking at him for 8 years the next morning.
You forget sometimes what you've done, don't you?
Definitely discovered that.
Was it? like one of the members of Maxwell's I think. Oh no, what? One of the members of the Scottish bands who sort of like, you know, those Scottish bands. There's a group of them that like play in each other's bands, and there's just like you never know who. Especially Murder Burgers, they're the worst for it. Like when like every week they've got a new lineup, and they're all from different Scottish bands. And a guy came up to me, he's like, "How are you doing? I haven't seen you in years." I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "I feel really terrible. I don't remember." He's like, "I stayed at your house." I was like, "Lots of people stayed at my house." Yeah, it was awful. It was really bad.
I put Murder Burgers on like one of their last gigs, and Deke was playing bass, and he said, "Yeah, I'm the 27th member of Murder Burgers."
They think they're Dangerfields. Didn't Dangerfields have like 90 members or something?
Yeah, Dangerfields would be a ridiculous number, wouldn't it?
That's more than Spinal Tap had in it.
How's Rad Apples doing up in Dundee? Is that, obviously it's not serving at the moment. Is that surviving or?
Yeah, I messaged him. He was talking about a compilation a few weeks ago, and yeah, they seem to be. Well, they can't open, but they seem to be getting on okay.
So yeah, Dickie from for people listening, Dickie from Uniforms has got a sort of venue, a cafe, and a label shop type thing called Rad Apples in Dundee. But obviously affected by COVID at the moment. But what an awesome thing! It's amazing, isn't it, to see people doing stuff like that.
And they bought the pub now as well, haven't they? And set up a vegan cafe, haven't they?
Yeah.
It used to be Conroy's. Conroy's
basement. Well, it's still Conroy's basement, the venue, and then like the upstairs bit's Rad Apples.
Proper Scottish pub. It's wicked. I played there in Revenge. It's ace. And I went to the after show for the festival there, and that was pretty wild as well. It's a good place.
It's like a pub with a distro as well. It's perfect.
Yeah. What more could you want?
I'm a terrible liar, and I'm the first to give up. Am I a hopeless romantic or useless bag of junk? I mean every word that I say, though I don't know for how long. I'm so capricious and uncertain, it's hard to hold your mind when you're always on the run.
I didn't find this 12-inch for this. I got the mini version. I'll hold it closer.
Same size.
Yeah.
You've not done that joke yet.
Yeah. Oh, I have done it many times on this series.
I've been watching. I've been watching. And keeping tabs.
Every single episode. So yes, Tim Loud's album, Salvation.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Loud is just an incredible songwriter, isn't he? Just brilliant voice, incredible songwriter, and I think this album has some of his best songs on. I mean, obviously, when he worked for Revenge, that was his highlight, his peak. But but yeah, this album's just an amazing album, and he's been a big part of TNS through his Boot Scraper, but through the Hemp and Jig gigs, and you know, we've talked about him in previous episodes, but really important part of the history of TNS. So thank you, Tim, for everything you've done. And Nosebleed, you've been on tour with him as well, haven't you? Which I have as well, which is always a fun time. But yeah,
it's one of the last. It was one of the last things we did as a band, wasn't it?
Well, I remember when this album came out. I think I really fucking annoyed him because it came and it's like, honestly, it's one of my favourite albums on TNS, and I just badgered him for a fucking week about it, telling him how good it was, and he just stopped talking to me for a while.
We used to do late. We used to live around the corner from us, me and Eliott, and we used to do late pints on a Friday, like secret pints.
Yeah, we'd meet up at pub at like 11 o'clock at night when all like sort of twats had gone, and just sit there until they kicked us out. And it were like our Friday tradition with him, and we used to sort of do all these stupid ideas for tours and stuff, and it took us about 3 years to actually make it happen with him.
Oh, it was worth it though, wasn't it?
It was worth it.
That was one of my favourites. Well, that was personally my favourite tour anyway.
Was that a European tour?
No, it weren't UK one. We were meant to be doing a Europe one in September with him, but obviously that all got cancelled, and now Europe's shut forever.
We had a great name for it as well. We were going to call it the Brentrance Tour.
Who came up with that? Was that Tim?
I can't remember. It was over some pints.
I can actually imagine each and every one of you saying that and being very proud of yourself for coming up with it.
Well, like,
I think it might have been me,
you know. Our ideas we had were all based around like just stupid names. It wasn't like where we could go. Like the one we did in the UK one we only did that because we had this name, the World Tour of Britain Tour. And then that was the only reason we did that tour, so we could put that name on a T-shirt.
Why else would you do a tour?
Yeah, I don't think you can never play down how funny it is to put something funny on a T-shirt. That's why I mean, comes from a man who sold Mr. Blobby T-shirts where the print was on the inside and you could put it over your head. Just Tim that you did with the merch competition.
Tim did T-shirts with "Come On" them, and apparently they didn't sell well at all.
With what on them?
Come on.
Come on.
Come on. Oh, I thought he said he sold T-shirts with "Come On." I was like, what? That's absolutely rank.
I was thinking about the Revenge.
He could only knock out 5 T-shirts.
On that bombshell.
Sorry, it's a family show.
Should we move on to TNS077? True Punks.
So it's a Vanilla Pod 7-inch.
Yeah, this is their final release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a joint release with
Make That Take were involved in it. Yeah.
Did you see that?
So yeah,
Wow.
we've done the Vanilla Pod album, and we talked about them on a previous episode. But yeah, they decided to call it a day, and to be fair, they put in a pretty good shift, I think.
How long are they going for?
I started in '95. I looked it up earlier.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah,
I
remember about when I were at school. I didn't even think I had pubes when I first heard about them.
Dickie, did you do preparation for this?
No, I was just having a little look. You boys were late. I was just killing time.
Unbelievable.
So they played at Wonkfest relatively recently around the time of this, and Matt from Vanilla Pod come up to me and went, "Oh, I'll get you a drink to say thank you for helping release stuff," and he got me a triple Southern Comfort and lemonade. So I didn't ask for it, but I thought it was good. I thought that.
Was that the one where they played the main stage?
About Vanilla Pod. No, that was a different time when they played the main stage.
I was like, everyone had a bit too much of the rider at that. It's fucking hilarious.
They so under the main stage at Wonkfest, there's like a gear storage area, I guess, and there's like little so below the stage there's like a door that you can go through to get the storage, and Rob out of Vanilla Pod went in it to sing, and no one let him out.
People just stood there with their foot up. People just stood there with their foot up against the door.
Was it a pie race? The stepladder incident? Was
oh
that
God!
I still blame Bev for that.
I was terrified. I thought we were going to have a lawsuit on because the flooring of pie race was all tiles because it used to be like a slaughterhouse. Ironically, it's now like a vegetarian cooperative. But like, it used to be a slaughterhouse, so all the walls are like wiped clean and the floors are tiles. And I was just at the bar getting a drink, and I had someone, I can't remember who it was, came running in, goes, Ben. What? I was like, what? Rob's just like fallen directly on his head off some ladders onto the tile floor. I was like, God, and he was in bed for weeks, wasn't he? Like, yeah, awful. What happened actually? Because I didn't actually witness it.
So what happened was someone got a step ladder so he could get on the beam, which I don't really know what he needed the step ladders to get on the beam, but then some idiots decided to pick the step ladder up, very much encouraged by Rob, and
I wonder who the two idiots
it fell over and it ended badly.
Of course, as soon as you pick up a step ladder up, as soon as you pick a step ladder up with someone on top, it's slightly more heavy there.
Who would leave step ladders out at a gig? I blame that person.
Like a few years ago, I was like, right, before it all kicked off, like the gig, I was like, right, we need to put these step ladders somewhere because I was going through all the potential dangers of the gig. I was like, right, you need to take the projector off the beam because that's going to get climbed on. And I was like, really? I was like, yeah, really. And I'm like, we need to put these step ladders somewhere. They're like, what? I was like, you need to put these step ladders somewhere because they're going to get used. It's like a hardcore wrestling match.
Well, we've talked about the importance of a venue understanding how ludicrous it is. Like, we've had venues where they thanked us that there's footprints on the ceiling in the morning. But yeah,
they were well earned.
Yeah. But yeah, like Vanilla Pod obviously been a huge part of the UK DIY scene for a long time, and sad to see them go, but you know, wow, what a shift they put in. So,
yeah, definitely.
They'll kill us all! They'll kill us all! They'll kill us all! They'll kill us all! Whoa! In your head! Don't give your money to them, give your money to me. They use it to start wars. Under false pretenses, what we all know is what they're fighting for.
Incisions album. They've done a few EPs, but this is their debut album. We talked about in the previous episode where I got drunk and asked them to send me their stuff because they'd had an album recorded for a while, hadn't they? And they've making, you know, played some amazing gigs, and so we asked to hear it, and yeah, got blown away by it, so we had to put it out.
Did they record this before that old guy joined them?
yeah,
this is before the old guy in them.
They had a fashionable, handsome young guitarist, and then he either aged very dramatically in a short period of time, or they swapped him for someone new. I don't know what happened. One of those.
I think it's called Tom. It's called Tom Selleck, is it?
Bob Carroll G's.
Talking about,
Bob Carroll G's doesn't play on this.
No.
Talking about good looking vinyl, this came out well. Like that, the white and black job.
How did they do that? Like, it looks like they spun it round while they've pressed it.
Yeah.
Do you want to know an interesting side anecdote related to Incisions? So I got Battle a signed picture of Bob Carroll G's for his birthday when we were still allowed to go to pubs, and he left it in the pub that we were at, but it had an MPF sticker in with the like little plastic wallet, and someone from the pub got in touch with Kieran from MPF and said, has anyone left this? It was just a picture of a Bob Carroll G's signed picture. So apparently it's on its way back to Martin, ungrateful bastard. But yeah, Incisions, I think musically it's absolutely awesome, relentless hardcore punk. It's just brilliant, and it's really nice the way they sort of got involved with TNS, because Jordan was struggled to get like a proper coherent lineup together for a while. We sent a really nice message to MPF after the first MPF, I think, saying, "Oh, like this has really inspired me. I'm going to get my band up and running." And
was he about 15 at the time?
No, Jordan's like
he's just got excellent skin.
But yeah, another example, like you sort of become like really good friends with people through the music, and like like hang out with these guys all the time now, and you know, I've really honestly grown to like them. And then but yeah, what a great album, and like it'll probably be on pre-order by the time this goes out, will it?
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, so there's a new Incisions album on the way, and it's absolutely outstanding. And Grandad has done really well as well. His influence has really, really helped with like moving their sound in a new direction. It's brilliant.
Yeah, they've changed from two guitarists, haven't they, with Jordan playing to just singing most of it.
I think that's cool on the live show, isn't it? I think a big favorite Incisions moment for me was like, so the opening slot at one of the biggest stages at MPF is always a genuinely really good slot, but you always think that the bands aren't going to be over the moon that they're on early. But like Incisions opened at Gorilla and it was just packed, wasn't it? It was just completely full. And one of the beauties of MPF is there's often a pit very early in the day, and I think I like seeing them just proper tear it up early in the day at MPF.
That was good. I missed that because we were playing either directly after them or directly before them, about like a 20-minute walk away, so completely missed it. But I had loads of people came back in, was like, that was amazing. Really good start to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a good way to use those stages. Like, we do it on purpose. It feels like we're giving people a bad slot, but yeah, like you guys opening as well. It's good way
that was ridiculously big venue. That was.
Yeah. Bit too. Yeah, didn't quite work out.
You got a bit too big, like the venue in general.
Oh yeah. Not you guys. You guys are one of the bigger crowds of the day.
What were you going to say, Dan? Sorry.
So that's the year that Jordan had his Crocs on, wasn't it, on stage?
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah. Croc man.
I mean, Incisions' sense of humor is good, and it's like typical of TNS bands. I think like they just message me all the time and tell me to say things to Archie and Tet, and I'm like, this is a bit cruel, really. But then Archie or Tet will go, "Did this happen?" Or go, yeah.
They made me ring Archie and pretend to be American country pop singer Kenny Chesney.
I had to pretend I went to his gig.
Yeah, at Gulliver's. I was like trying to be that deep south, like it was awful. Listen to it back. He believed them for a bit.
You see, they think he believes them all the time, but I think he's just like, I don't know.
Playing up.
He just goes, yeah, that's fine.
I really struggle to understand whether people are in on the joke or not with them lot.
Or if there's even a joke.
Yeah. Fair point. Should we move on?
There was another anecdote about the drummer who came to my house, and I was in the basement, and my housemate answered it, and he said, "Can you tell Ben that Freezing John Tetley's here?" Yeah, because I didn't actually know his name at the time. Dave came downstairs and he was like, "Ben, there's a guy calling himself Freezing John Tetley at the door."
On the subject of things that you released that are a bit novelty. So the close or far away joke works especially well this because it is a 5-inch vinyl.
Look at that. It's mainly labeled.
And Domestics did a really good impression of PIZZATRAMP on that as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
And PIZZATRAMP did their tracks track names as long as possible just to fill the label. So this came out of a conversation between James from Domestics and Jim, I think, like doing 3 proper songs each on a 5-inch vinyl, which is ridiculous.
We got a 24-second song, a 16-second song, a 17-second song from Domestics. You got 13 seconds, 23 seconds, and 21 seconds from PIZZATRAMP, who still can't decide if PIZZATRAMP's all one word.
Winding up.
Is it just my copy of it where the Domestics is on the PIZZATRAMP side and the PIZZATRAMP's on the Domestic side?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I've forgotten about that.
So the first pressing of this will be the rare one.
The only pressing.
But to be fair, it is another sort of bit of evidence that doing something ridiculous sells well.
Yeah, it flew out this.
Yeah.
Some more great photography in there. Yeah, and then this led to a release that we're going to discuss later on. Not this episode, in a couple of episodes where they did a split, which is kind of the opposite to this, because they're idiots.
What's the opposite of 5 inches?
No, in the opposite, as in they did 12 inch, but did just one track that's really long.
Did a 30-inch record.
Yes, like this one.
Better be mortified by putting that on his record player.
Yeah.
Well, on the subject of selling ludicrous things, shall we move on to the last one of this episode?
Picture disc.
We did a fucking picture disc. Now, who would have thought at the start of TNS that you would ever do something like a picture disc?
This came out. How did it come out? I think it's conversation with Tommy from No Time. Like me and him were talking about pitch discs and how ridiculous it would be, and then I thought, I know the perfect record to do a picture disc with, and it absolutely flew out. So yeah, that was the conversation with Tommy. He was like, yeah, we're talking about doing stupid things on releases, and then we forgot that we needed 2 different images.
I was about to bring this up.
We were having a conversation with Dan and went, oh yeah, we need to get another one for the other side. But if you can't do a picture disc once, then what's the point?
I've still never had a pizza with cigarette butts on it. I've never lived.
No.
Continues their tradition of naming their albums after a band. So Grand Relapse, obviously a nod to Grand Collapse.
My favourite thing about that is that Grand Collapse asked for some more CDs, and we said, yeah, we've got some more CDs. So we messaged Big Hands and went, can you just sort out setting a courier up to get 100 CDs to Grand Collapse? And they arrived and opened them up, and there were 100 copies of Grand Relapse.
I forgot about that. That is outstanding.
It's like, just got a picture from them and just go, no, what are we going to do with these guys?
Wasn't it with this release? There's like an insert. It's like a map, and they put all the bands all over the country on it. Did they put Grand Collapse in Bristol rather than Wales?
I hope so. They would have. They must have. No, unfortunately not. The Grand Collapse are just under PIZZATRAMP in the South Wales.
You know, like when you've got specific stories about bands, and then like you remember but with PIZZATRAMP, it's just like a whole. I can't even think of one particular story that stands out, because every time you play with them or around, something ridiculous happens.
Can you imagine?
Do you remember him pissing in the car park of the Fulford Arms for a full 5 minutes while
it was such a long piss.
Well, the landlord was shouting at him, and he was like, "You can't piss in the car park." He's like, "Well, I've already started now," and we stood there for 5 minutes watching him piss.
And then by the time Chris was like, "I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just impressed." Like, how long have you been holding this in?
Can you imagine going on tour with PIZZATRAMP?
How was that?
It's an experience, definitely. Jim and Dan had really hit it off. One night they went out on Bremen. We played an early gig, and then there was like another gig across town like later on. So they gave us the option, "Oh, do you want to come to this other gig, or you can stay here?" Because we stayed in the venue, but it was like one key. So if you went out, someone had to let you in, or you had to like just stay out. So most of us were like, "Oh, we'll just stay at the venue. Like, there's a fridge full of beer. We'll just drink that." And Jim and Dan were like, "Nah, we're going out." So it's like, "All right, call us when you come back and we'll let you in." We woke up the next morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, and they still hadn't come back. And we told them we got to be on the road by like 10:30, 11. And the only reason they realised they went out for a cigarette and realised it was daylight. And they're like, "Oh shit, we need to leave." Otherwise, they probably would have got lost in Bremen. Right.
The thing that worries me about that story is that I know that I would have been with them if I'd been there. And Bev would have gone, "Get in the van."
Yeah, I would have turned up and gone, "Guys, we've got an 8-hour drive now." And then it was just me for 8 hours driving to Poland or something.
It's almost as if something like that happened.
Yes.
Oh, what I wouldn't do is to have an 8-hour drive to Poland right now to play a gig.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to drive fast. But I get your point.
It's so funny, like touring in Europe and not really playing. You're just thinking, "Oh, I've got all these gigs," and you don't really think they're that far away from each other.
Yeah, well, we've
like
talked
9-hour drives between gigs.
Episodes, like when you've got a 4-hour drive in Europe, you think, well, that's not too bad. And most people in general society think a 4-hour drive to anywhere is a pain in the arse.
It's like trying to get to Hastings.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's quicker for us to get to Amsterdam than it is to Manchester.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's nuts. But that's mainly because our motorways are shit and it takes like double the amount of time to go up north.
Not anymore, though, probably.
Probably no. Not at the minute.
All that bloody paperwork.
So, yeah, that's every release that we were going to talk about this episode. So, yeah, Nosebleed, thank you very much for joining us. But do you want to tell everyone about your new album? Because I don't know if it'll be on pre-order, but you've mentioned it, so you might as well tell people.
Right. So what I'm going to say is that get ready to listen to the best album you've ever heard since Scratching Circles on the Dance Floor.
Is it better or?
It's a lot better because it's better songs, better artwork.
Yeah, I've done the artwork.
It's quite different, isn't it?
Oh, it's well different, right? So I remember saying this to Bev when we were recording it, and I messaged you on Facebook and said, right, we've done this. People are going to hate it on the first listen, so I need you all to put a slip in it that's saying, give this 3 listens and it'll make sense to you and it'll be your favourite album ever. But it's going to have to be a 3 listen deal for everyone.
Put that on the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Please listen at least 3 times to this album.
Please listen 3 times and it will change your life.
Well, if that doesn't sell it, then I don't know. Don't know what will. Can you help, Ben?
Can I help?
Yeah.
I've been trying to help for a long time.
I mean, I've heard it multiple times and it is absolutely fantastic. When we went to band practice in Hastings, which was obviously a very convenient thing to do, we listened to it multiple times. And
because I showed you and Big Hands it, didn't I? And then we were driving for about an hour, and then you went, can we listen to your new album again?
I fell out of character and pretended I liked it. But yeah, it's fucking mint, and I think people are going to really enjoy it, and I think it will totally get a new audience out there for you as well, because it is so different.
I just hope that it makes everybody else on this label step up a bit.
The thing is, we recorded it so long ago, and we haven't been able to be a band. If you asked us to play it now, we won't have a fucking clue how to do it.
I was actually going to say that. Can you even remember it?
Well, yeah, that is TNS100 out now.
Yeah.
When this is right, okay. Well, that song that we put on there, I don't think we ever played that as a band, because it was all like lockdown stuff, and then we were just trying to get, whenever lockdown was lifted, we're just trying to get people like in. So me and Eliott wrote it over Zoom, and then Dickie kind of came and did his drum bit when we sent the sort of demo over to him, and then it was. I don't think we've actually ever played it together as a band. So that's a song that we've written over Zoom and never played.
I quite like that as a thing, though. Like, I think we've talked quite a lot on previous episodes about how a record label or a band is sort of a way of sort of remembering things, a sort of record of things that have happened. And I think obviously the world at the moment is ludicrous, and I think having these little stories about the way you've adapted to it as a creative person is quite interesting, isn't it?
Mm. It's tricky, but you can get through it, I think, for the time being.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see.
I mean, everything will be fine by the time this goes out. I don't doubt that for a minute. We're recording it on the 24th of January. It's probably going to go out late February, maybe. Who knows? But
They told us 3 weeks back in March, and it'll be all back to normal.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm starting to not trust the government.
On that bombshell. Thanks very much for joining us. Yeah, it's been great. And yeah, we look forward to the album coming out. And next episode, we're going to get to 81 to 90. Nearly finished. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us.
You.
Proper appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff.